How do you identify? Is this an important label for you?
I identify as lesbian, and I believe it's important to recognise that there's no label, and one size doesn't fit all. Heterosexuality is not the only way that a person can be recognised. There's different relationships and different dimensions of people, and this single identity has confounded people. I'm a white Anglo person, and it seems I get more privileges than others in the community because of that status.
When and how did you realise that you were LGBTIQA+? How has your cultural background impacted your experience?
I didn't realise I was gay until I was about 30. Although when I look back on my life prior to that, I was connecting with women in a different way than I believe was expected. I had a crush on Loretta Young as a child. Some people who hear this today may not have any idea of who that woman is, but my goodness, she was gorgeous. She was a woman on TV who had her own TV program. I was considered a tomboy, and I wanted a cap and gun. What had to go? A cap, gun, and holster for Christmas, and not the dolls I was normally given. I did get a gun and holster, as it happens. I grew up in a Catholic family, and homosexuality wasn't spoken about. Culturally, it didn't exist. It certainly didn't exist as even in any of our conversations, and certainly as a frame of reference. So I had to calibrate this attraction to put it into a context that worked for me. And again, I'm recalling, as a young girl, I was attracted to women and girls around me, and I called it a schoolgirl crush. At the time, I interpreted the word crush, which was meant to be for someone who was attracted to someone of the opposite sex. I included it into my attraction to someone of the same sex.
What is your connection to this area, and when did it start?
So my family moved to Narre North when I was 4, and I've lived here on and off throughout my life. I didn't have a big connection to the area except through school and church. In the early 90s, I had some lesbian friends who I met outside of Casey through a lesbian group called Moondala Sisters. It was in East Bentley, run by Wise in Frankston. And then we discovered we lived in the same area, and as it turns out, when I built my first house, there was a lesbian woman living up the street from me. A couple of years later, 2 gay guys built a property adjacent to me, and we're still close friends. I also used to commute from here to the city, and would often see a particular car that had a rainbow sticker on it. I thought I was the only gay in the village, is that lovely expression. But I was able to go out, have coffee with that group of women that I was describing earlier, and chat, and we'd be seen as a group of women out together. And there was no recognition that we were lesbian or LGBTIQA+.
What do you like about living, working, studying, or visiting this area as an LGBTIQA+ or ally?
Casey felt and feels like a relatively safe place. I liked growing up in the rural part of Casey, but I wasn't exposed to the wider prejudices of the community prejudices of the wider community. The church in which I was connected had enough of its own. There are now places that I don't feel safe. I'm not able to specify actually where that is, but I experience a feeling of being uncomfortable and won't hold hands with my partner. We've been together for nearly 23 years now. And up until 2018, there were no activities in Casey for LGBTQIA plus people. Anything in which I might have been interested was closer towards a city. There was nothing here to feel comfortable about your sexuality. LGBTIQA plus people were invisible in Casey.
What do you not like about living, working, studying, visiting this area as an LGBTIQA plus or ally?
I guess it's actually about safety. Up until the dissolution of the council here, the community wasn't supported. The gay lesbian community. I'm going to shorten. Not going to work with the acronym. Weren't supported by councillors, and some of them were even racist. So it was actually a very it wasn't a welcoming community. It wasn't from the I'm going to say from the top, the people who were supposed to be leaders and showing us how we live. We've got people who are openly homophobic, openly racist. So much so that at one stage there was one person who ran a diversity committee who was openly racist and openly homophobic. So it didn't feel. And I might actually now about to be answering the next question, but I'm not sure.
What do you think are the most important issues facing LGBTIQA plus and their allies today?
Look, I think it seems to me that Casey is a bit of a microcosm, really, of the general community. One of the biggest issues that I see are about visibility, safety, and especially also like as I mentioned earlier, I'm in a bit more privileged position, lesbian, white. If you're a person of colour, and you quite possibly practice a non-Anglo religion, you may well not feel safe. And each of us wants to be recognised for who we are without constricting labels. And that's the kind of thing that's still out there easily. For example, people should, like two men should be able to walk around holding hands, giving each other expressions of their affection and connection. And they should feel safe to do that, which they don't, I don't think. You can't go into a toilet freely without someone maybe questioning you if you should be there. And again, you might well be condemned, be as part of a religion and a religious community. It could be quite dangerous for them to declare their sexuality openly, even to their family, let alone openly.
What message, if any, would you like to give to others?
Biggest message I have is to be proud of who you are. You're no better or lesser than anybody else. You are yourself. Be yourself. You have a right to be here. And I can tell you it gets better.